Welcome back, everybody, to the Off the Tools podcast with your hosts, Joshua Grinbour and Jimmy Hong. Today, we're going to be diving into a little bit about how to retain your employees and keep them around for a long time. Or as Jimmy likes to say, Ming, long time. So, um,
It's
Jimmy,
true.
start off. When it comes to keeping, I guess, your employees around, talk to me maybe about like a career path that you can kind of talk to them about and how you kind of lay out maybe the foundation for that employment. Does it start off with like a contract, with a plan? Does it start off with a conversation? Where does it start?
Yeah, I think right at the beginning when we hire our painters, the biggest thing was always seeing what their goals were,
Mm,
right? Like understanding what they want out of this, not just like, hey, I want to come be a painter, right? It's not good enough,
mm-hmm,
right? Like they have their own goals. They want to learn new skills and develop like ones that they already have. So especially in the interview, just understanding where they want to be, whether it's like um, just want to do better like communication skills, right? More leadership skills. So okay, as we're talking about that, I'm jotting those down so we can build out that career path for them, right? So if they come in like first, in terms of let's say they wanted to be a marketer first, right? Door to door marketer, awesome. We build out the plan and we talk about all the different things they want out of this.
mm-hmm,
And I think the key here is asking what they think they can get out of it,
mm.
right? I can just ask, I can tell them all day, but it'll probably just be in one ear out the other, right? So it comes back to the like, hey, what do you think you're going to get out of this?
Yeah.
And then they'll list all the reasons why they should do this and uh, be a good uh, worker for that role.
Mm-hmm,
And then as we continue, it's like, okay, perfect. I know one of our best buddies, Joe, he would literally have them market, and once they hit a certain amount of leads, they can start becoming a painter,
mm-hmm. You
right?
earn it.
So exactly, you have to earn it, progress, and then always planting those seeds. Like, hey, at some point, I'm going to need a project manager, right? I'm going to need a crew lead, and here are all the things that I would be looking for, and then I again ask them again, like, hey, what do you think I'd be looking for in a project manager or a crew lead? What are those things that it's going to make you the obvious choice when it comes to that time? So I think moral of the story, just having a good understanding of their goals
Mm-hmm,
and seeing like what they think about it so that you can also build upon them.
mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I definitely didn't expect that answer from you for the reason that I never did that in my business, really. Like, and it's so powerful too, because and I wish I did, because it's like if you can align their future goals with their current work, it's like, well, now they feel like they're working to attain their future goals, right? For you, when you were doing that, what were maybe like some of the most common things that people were trying to work on or get better at or improve upon that you then segued into, well, if you're looking to get better at this, then this is what we're going to double down you on in our business here.
Yeah, I think the biggest one was definitely tough conversations.
Mm,
Like it's tough, right? Like no one likes them. It's you're going out of your comfort zone, and it's one of those skills that I think is just super underutilized because if you shy away from them, you're kind of preventing your growth. So that would be a big one. And I'll give you an example. Like one in my second year of running my painting business, my project manager Nimit, absolute legend. He would just take on like the role perfectly, right?
mm-hmm,
And one of the things I remember this exact point where we had a client that gave us a 4 out of 5 stars, and nothing crazy, or it wasn't like huge complaint or anything. But him and I had a coaching conversation around, hey, like we're always striving for that 5 out of 5 stars, right? So how can we have a conversation with them to kind of see how we can earn it? I'm not saying like let's go back and just like, hey, can we get a 5? No, no, no. We want to earn it, right? So we had that coaching conversation, and then after he would go back to them, and they're like, "Yeah, everything's looking good. There was just this one thing here," and I was like, "Oh, no problem." So Nimit would just go and he just fixed that one thing, got her 5 stars. Had he not asked, we wouldn't. It would have been like a 99% finished job, but we're going for the 110% effort. And then later on, it was kind of cool to see because he wanted to work on having those tough conversations because he was going to vet school.
Mm-hmm.
So it was cool to see because later down the years when he was finished working with me, he was talking about that moment, like having those tough conversations helped him with it because, and I didn't know this, vet school, they asked some pretty crazy questions during like the practicals. And Nimit was able to answer them really well because at the end of the day, it's not like getting the perfect answer. It's like how you actually take care of, the people, and as well as like how you answer the question logically.
Mm-hmm.
So he was able to do that, and it was really cool to see. And I'll give you an example. One of the questions they asked him was like, "You're a vet, and your assistant just put down the wrong dog." Right. So a question like that was crazy, but
Crazy.
most people would be like, "Oh my god, like what is going on?" But he was able to keep cool because he already built up like that tolerance to tough conversations. So it's kind of cool to see him transition those communication skills with tough conversations into like his career path. I think that would be one of my best examples.
Yeah, holy. That, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't even know if I could answer that well. I've had so many tough conversations. But you know what? I think it's kind of like never having done a bicep curl in your life.
yeah,
And, then you try, as opposed to lifting 15 pounds, then you try 25 pounds. It can be a lot heavier, but you've done a bicep curl before. So you
yeah.
kind of get it. Um, Cool, man. No, that's so true. I know another one that kind of comes up for people is communication. Like, I feel like
Mm,
you'll get, I mean, it basically is in this world. I feel like 50-50 introverts, extroverts. So they'll kind of put like, yeah, like I really want to work on my communication skills. In which case, man, that is such a good time for you to reframe their idea of like a next door neighbor marketing or just marketing in general. It's like, hey, like, if you want to get better at talking to people, I have the perfect solution for you to be talking to random people all the time, every day. Perfect solution. As a matter of fact, it's going to feel so normal in like probably 3 days of doing it. And you might even just transition to being an extrovert because you just get rid of that barrier in your head of what you think conversations with random people to be.
yeah.
You
Hey, it
know?
doesn't hurt to get paid for it too, right? Next door neighbor
Exactly.
marketing.
Yeah, no, exactly. I always wonder about that though. That study that was done, I'm pretty sure in like the early 2000s where soccer players or football, depending on where you live, reported their happiness levels before and after they got paid, and their happiness levels did go down as soon as they got paid for it. That being said, being paid is awesome. I mean, period there for sure. But I think you'd have a tougher time convincing someone to go knock on doors for you for free if we're just talking happiness levels as well.
Yeah, I think like you're absolutely right. Right? Like if you can build it up as one of their goals and something they're working towards while also being able to pay them for it, I think that's the best of both worlds. And something that comes up a lot is like, making sure that your painters or project managers are paid on time. Always,
Mm-hmm.
right? So what can you speak about that?
What can I speak about that? I mean, it's a pretty simple one. Make sure they're getting paid on time. Um, a trick that I use for retention in terms of painters is I always round up on their point 0.5 of hours. So if
Nice.
you worked 2.5 hours, all right, no worries. I'm going to put in 3 hours because it's like I don't really care about that half hour. All I want is for you to be happy and feel satisfied and feel like you're getting adequately paid for your laborious work that you just did for me. Because let's not sugarcoat it. Anything in the trades. I can't think of a single trade that's like easy on the
Yeah.
body, on the mind. So it's like at least getting paid what you're worth and for what you've done, and then hopefully and then some might be a good call. And like especially with upper management, something that you can do for retention around upper management is every year I used to go to my project manager and he used to go, "Hey, think of something you really want. Keep it semi reasonable. I'm not buying you a new car, okay? And I'll get you it." So one year I got them, uh, a new phone. Next year they're like, "I want a brand spanking new laptop." I'm like, "Okay, I'll pay for like most of it, but you got to chip in a couple $100, okay?" But the moral of the story is, it's like little dangling carrots for everybody, not even just their pay.
I love that. And for those of you listening, like we paid our painters piecework.
Mm-hmm.
So meaning like, hey, we would quote a job and this is how long we expect it to be done. If you finish it before, you still get paid the entire length of the job, right? So, and of course, like I think keeping like a full schedule is something that's just so important. I speak to painters, remodelers all day. And one of the things I always hear is like, yeah, my guys that keep leaving when I have no work, but then all of a sudden I have tons of work. I either have to beg them to come back because they're already working for somebody else, or I have to go train new guys. So there's always
Mm-hmm.
this like hamster wheel. And classic marketer here. We're talking about full schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, like what do you think about that in terms of like having a full schedule with retention with painters and remodelers, I guess?
It's like the bare minimum. It's like if you don't have 5 days on, 2 days off work at a minimum for your guys, kiss them goodbye. Kiss them now, as a matter of fact. Because it's like, who's going to want to work for you? It's not consistent. It's not reliable. In the end of the day, what are you? You're a partnership. Imagine if your romantic partner wasn't consistent or reliable. You'd probably not stay with them, or you shouldn't. If you are, that's a pretty toxic relationship. So why are you trying to be a toxic relationship for your employees, right?
That's a good point.
So it's like, at the end of the day, if you don't have that figured out, you're actually way better off either saying, "Screw it, I'm never gonna finish this out. The market is so incredibly hard. I hate this," and firing your employees, or figuring out how you can get that top of funnel figured out. Because again, there's only three parts to the painting company or a modeling company: the marketing aspect, the sales aspect, and the production aspect. If you don't got the top figured out, the water only trickles down. It's not starting from the middle. The sales don't magically appear.
That's a bar right there.
It's true. I tell everybody all the time. I was on the phone with Misha the other day, and he's like, "Man, I need more leads. I need more work." I'm like, "Okay, let's start with the top of the funnel. How are the leads? You know, what's that trickling down into?" You can all, you can any remodeling painting business. You can always just diagnose the exact problem. Super easy.
Mhm.
You're like a plumber. You're just watching the water flow down. You're like, okay, where's the leak? You know?
Yeah, exactly. Right? Like, God, if you're literally not fixing out your marketing and getting a full schedule, you're basically paddling a boat with a big leak in it.
Yes.
It's gonna drown.
Yes. Eventually, and the worst part is it's slow.
Yeah. Or even worse, you're paddling a leaky boat and the people in the boat jump ship. Your
Yeah.
workers. Like,
Or you haven't even told the people in the boat that the boat is leaking. That's even worse. Then all of a sudden they're underwater, like you tricked us. Imagine how that feels too, right?
yeah, that's so true, man. And I know like and we talk about a lot of like the retention stuff today. One of the things that kind of came up during our painting business was really like making sure that you had good equipment, right? I kind of learned
Mm-hmm.
through that. Yeah, what did you have in like what processes did you have in place? Because I know we didn't just give them the best party brush or whatever right off the bat.
Yeah. Here comes Josh's hot take of the day. So I gave up actually cleaning brushes. It's one and done around here. I mean, we ended up getting our brushes $4 a piece, with the pricing that we were getting. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, they abused that fact of the business, and I still think it's actually genuinely the right play because you're either paying them to wash it or you're paying for new brushes. So therefore, if you're paying your painter $20 an hour, they have to be washing brushes, one brush, for half an hour for it to be actually even less. I think it would be 15 minutes. So they're usually washing for longer. I feel like that end of day just like goes so long,
Brutal. Yeah.
right? So I feel like it was a bad time efficiency thing. But when it comes to like good equipment, no cost should be spared with especially good ladders. Holy man. Like ladders are probably the most anxiety
Hmm.
inducing part of this whole, kind of process, whether you're remodeling or painting again. So you better have grade 3 ladders. When it comes to decent brushes, you can like get like really nice brushes for your painters, and you can experiment with, rewarding a really good painter every now and then with like a nice one. But, I do find that like not a lot of painters like take care of them really well, so you might just be wasting there. But again, there are some that do take care of really well, right? So you can kind of experiment with that. Um, but even, I mean, just like efficiency in terms of like the actual project itself. Like we had a big epiphany maybe 2 years ago that like whenever we would stain a deck, like obviously you need to sand the deck before you need to open the pores of the wood. So we were taking these palm sanders and just flying all over the deck, opening the pores of the wood. I'm like, this is stupid. This sucks. I'm like, there's no way that this is the way we need to do this. And so I'm like, oh, let's just get one of those big old drywall sanders, slap an 80 grit on the bottom of it, and just go. And it's the same thing. It's just a big old orbital sander with little rolling balls on the bottom of it so that I can actually move around more. So, name of the game is just good equipment equals good efficiency and good safety. And if you're being efficient and you're being safe, is there anything else really to the business in terms of productivity?
100%. And man, I don't know, like if that's a hot take, I don't even want to hear the other one. Like that just makes sense, right? And especially like just to share in my business, we took it a little bit a different approach where we started with like decent brushes, right? Decent
Sure.
brushes, gave it to the painters, and it was like, hey, you can if you can take care of these ones, I'll buy you whatever brush you want. And it was
Mm.
really cool to see because it was like, it was these like brilliant finish, right? Are they the
Yep.
best top tier? No. Can you still do a great cut line if you are a good painter? Yes, 100%. They just don't last that long. You have to wash them and they kind of suck after we give
Mm-hmm.
them to our exterior crews because it's exterior, hilarious.
Yep.
Little tip. But then yeah, it's like after a week or two, like they were able to keep it like really, really maintained. It's like perfect. Let's go get you a different brush. One of my painters, they picked out this super neon yellow Sims like brush, and it was cool because it was so smooth. We had like Purdy's. My favorite was the Corona, and it was
Mm-hmm.
like such a nice brush. And then they already built that habit of keeping it clean because now they're getting this one brush that's like just top tier. And then they had to earn again. It's the game. The game is to earn it, and then they would just also happen to build that habit there. But yeah, you're 100% right. Good quality tools will just get they'll be happy. Your painters will be happier. Your workers will just be just way more um, wanting to actually keep it in good shape. Or
Mm-hmm.
like get them that hammer that's going to make the difference,
Mm-hmm.
right? Get the thing that's going to actually have them be like, wow, I love using this thing. I'm going to take
Mm-hmm.
care of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and just better safe, really, like if it's hammer, whatever it is, ladders, you're right. The safety, it's comfortable, it's efficient. It's like it checks all the boxes. Everybody wins.
Yeah, we switched over to the DeWalt cordless palm sanders.
Mm,
Again, about 2 years ago, because we were like, I think the worst part about using like any sort of power tool is trying to find somewhere to plug it in or just like keeping power. Like that should just not be like, part of the process. And I think what should be part of the process is like I would buy for the crew kit, DeWalt drill, DeWalt power sander, anything else. even like DeWalt shop vac, they all use the same 10, 20-volt battery. So beginning of the day, guess what's included in your beginning of day checklist? You got to plug in the DeWalt battery charging station so that when you need anything at all, you just go to the battery charging station, pick this awesome DeWalt tool, and you're off to the races. You're completely cordless, and you're not relying on a 50-foot extension cord.
It's actually awesome. I hated lugging around the 50, 100-foot extension cord and
Yep.
having to like drag it around. Oh my god, like that is a good one. Wish we could have implemented that. So
Yeah, and here's the thing. It's like everything gets its own challenges as well. Like I'm pretty sure we lost two 20-volt batteries. The batteries are so expensive. They're about $80 each. But and I could have implemented a system like that. I should have had a, checklist that gets reported back to me in terms of inventory of materials and tools at the end of every job site. If I was still running my painting company, best believe that would be involved.
yeah, no, 100%. I think that makes total sense. Like having it complete chords, you just get to be more efficient. I love that.
Hmm.
Did you do any bonuses or anything like that in terms of, for efficiency with the business?
Yeah, I like to talk about with my project manager. We did like the pick anything you want and like I'll get it for you thing in terms of bonuses. Um, I'm not gonna lie. So I did piecework for longest time, but I don't like how piecework is framed. I'm not gonna lie. And I think it's a great piecework is a great place to start as a business, but where it ended up going in terms of paying my painters was obviously you have the allotted budget of time for each and every job. And let's say you have a deck that's supposed to take 2 days, that's 16 hours each, 32 hours. I would go, hey guys, there's about 32 hours total allocated for this project. If you can get this done in 24 hours, I'm going to give you an $100 bonus each. So, even though that's basically the same thing, framing it as a bonus instead of like you earned it, even though they did earn it, it like I could tell it like did something. You know what I mean? And like I think it might require maybe a little bit more work in like the math department, if you will. But like framing it as like, oh my gosh, like I just got an $100 bonus on this job just for being efficient, as opposed to, yeah, I beat the budget. It hits different.
Scratches that part of the brain. I
Yeah,
like it.
bonus versus beat the budget. Bonus hits harder,
It does. You're absolutely right.
you
I
know?
think it's cool because like there's so many different ways you can do this, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm hearing this one like from you. I'm like, oh wow, like and I hope this can be passed on to other painters, remodelers too. For my business, what we did was it was like called the like 5 out of 5 star review bonus.
Mm.
And after every job, it's like for every job that you get a 5 out of 5 or call it 10 out of 10, whatever it is, you would get 20, $50, $100, whatever it would be to make sure that you continue. They would just keep doing great work because it was like, perfect. I'm just going to give you a bonus here, whether it's for my project manager because he's taking care of it or my painters. And again, they're the ones that get the reviews. And I always tell my clients that, hey, can you name drop the painters in the review? Because like I want to praise them and really shout them out. But yeah, just having bonuses like that to help keep quality high keeps the painters, the workers like happy. And there's just so many different ways, but I think that was the one that kept them motivated to keep on doing great work.
Hmm. I completely agree. And any carrot at the end of the stick that somebody can, chase, I think is totally important.
Yeah.
Um, Jimmy, let's introduce our first segment in our show here. I want to call it Jimmy's List. Okay. So for Jimmy's List today, Jimmy, what would you say top 3 things that people should implement in their painting or remodeling business to keep people around? Go.
I would say clear goal, career path. Make sure that you invest in great tools and also give them bonuses. Keep them happy. That's my big 3. Keep it simple.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, with that being said, thank you everybody for listening to the podcast today. We really hope that you took some stuff away. I even learned some things from Jimmy that I didn't even know that he knew, and I learned some things about myself that I didn't even know that I knew. So I'm
Right on.
glad you guys could join us on this journey here. If you want to talk to us about what it might look like to work with us, we'll have some link down below the podcast here. But anyways, thanks so much for listening to us today, and we'll see you in the next. Bye bye.
Cheers.